mile in fog patches and showers early Friday, but improving to greater than 6 miles on Friday morning.
Stars shining bright above me.
Mediagirlz Podcast Episode 5 Books for Your Aesthetic.
Hello, and welcome to today's episode of mediagirlz.
Today we will be talking about some books that are popular within people in certain aesthetic lifestyles.
We will take about 5 different styles and books that we have seen that the people who partake in this aesthetic enjoy.
Yes, of course these books have their own genres, but what they have in common with each other is that people with certain lifestyles seem to collectively agree that they are perfect for them. And so we have collected 20 books, 4 for each aesthetic style.
Disclaimer, we aren't saying that these books are only for one aesthetic, but what we consider is their popularity within the aesthetic mentioned. First, Dark Academia, for all the people interested in the arts, higher education, muted colors, dark wood, coats, rainy days, wine-stained sweaters, black tea in the evening, vintage Polaroids, and existential questions. Number 1, The Atlas X, which is a book about the what if the Library of Alexandria hadn't disappeared in the fire and instead became a secret organization, and every 10 years, 6 of the world's best magicians are offered the chance to join the exclusive organization, but only 5 will be chosen. 2. If We Were Billions by M.L. Rio. It is a novel that centers around a group of 4th-year theater students at a prestigious university program in Illinois. All is well until the typical casting gets flipped on its head, forever changing the power dynamics of the group. Number 3. The Secret History by Donna Tartt. It's the gripping tale of a group of classic students at a New England college who are involved in the murder of a classmate. The novel explores the complex relationships between the friends and the impact the incident has on their lives. 4. Dead Poet Society. It tells about the story of an unconventional teaching method that is done by one of the teachers at Wellington Academy. He is John Keating. He teaches the students about the freedom to express their ideas in literature.
Now we have Light Academia, for academics who like to people watch outside libraries, Greek mythology, beige, plaid, white tea, messenger bags, architecture, gold details, and classical music study sessions. First, we have Circe, which is a book that I actually read, and you read it too?
Yes, I read it too and I really liked it.
Yeah, it was really good, and it is about the daughter of a god and a nymph who discovers her power of sorcery because she was kind of not cared for, so she went to do her own thing, and now she is a sorcerer. And she first turns a human fisherman into a god because she fell in love with him, and that basically leads her to discovering more about it, and because of that she's exiled, and she has a bunch of adventures when she's in exile and learns more about her sorcery and herself.
I really like this book because Circe is normally depicted as a villain, but in this book the story is told by her perspective, which gives us to understand that she is just a misunderstood woman surviving in her own world.
She's a girl boss. Next we have Persuasion by Jane Austen, a classic story that I really liked because I really like Jane Austen. And the story is about Anne Elliot, who is a 27-year-old English woman, and her family has to lower their expenses because they have a bunch of debt, and basically they have to start renting their home to this admiral and his wife. And the wife's brother, Frederick Wentworth, was actually previously engaged to Anne, but when the engagement broke, Anne was persuaded to end the relationship, and so they meet again after all that, almost 8 years after, and they have a second chance romance. And well, it's perfect for all the girls who like romance stuff, and it's also just set in a very pretty way, and the writing of Jane Austen is great, so definitely recommend this one. The third book is Lovely War by Julie Berry, and it is a book about 2 couples in World War I, and we see their lives, but it is narrated through Greek gods. It is historical fiction and romance, and it was really well written. And we definitely are big fans of like mythology for this aesthetic, so we think that the combination of romance and mythology fits it very well. The last book for Light Academia is the classic story of Peter Pan, which is about this child, which is Wendy, who is visited by Peter Pan, which is this boy that is from Neverland. It is a land in which boys and girls do not grow up. And he takes her to Neverland. She meets the Lost Boys, which is part of like boys that are not growing up. And we learned that Peter was actually once a normal boy, but he ran away into Neverland so he would never have to grow up. And the story basically talks about Wendy's experience in Neverland and her family, and it's just very cute. And also the movie is very cute. So I definitely recommend this for some light, feel-good reading. Next aesthetic is cottagecore, for frolicking meadows, botany classes, collecting berries, petting baby cows, picnics, embroidering in the morning, pinafore aprons, baking bread, foley dresses, and feeding ducks at ponds. The first book we have is Little Women by Lucy May Alcott, and the story follows the lives of the four March sisters, Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy. Amy is my personal favorite. That is not relevant, I just wanted to say it. And basically it details their passage from being children to being women, and it is loosely actually based on the lives of the author and her three sisters, which is actually a really interesting fact. And basically we see them explore sisterhood, romance, family, and their relationships with the self and the world around them, and it's really nice, and I definitely recommend this. And also the movie, Florence Pugh is great in the movie. You should watch it. Next we have Anne of Green Gables, which is the story of Anne Shirley, who lives on an island but then gets adopted by a family with a brother and a sister, and goes to a farm called Green Gables. And she explores like life in this new place with adventure. She's a very curious person, so we see a lot of her relationships in school. She has a little romance, she has friends, and it's a very nice story, and it's a bit like long to read because there's a lot of things that you have to remember, but it's really touching and it's really nice, and watch the TV show too. It's really good.
I personally read this one and I really like it.
Yeah. Anne Shirley is a total girl boss. We love her. It's really great. And watch the show, it's just so good. Next we have Pride and Prejudice, which is really popular book by Jane Austen. It's a classic. And it follows a relationship between Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, which is an aristocratic landowner, and she is like a daughter of a country man, so she's like a country girl. Country roads take me home, basically. And the premise of the book is that they actually they don't like each other at the start, but during the book they start like developing feelings for each other, and we get to see the different relationships that they have around them and how it affects their relationship with each other. And basically it's called Pride and Prejudice because they have to overcome their pride and their prejudices. So it's like, oh my god, that's so smart. Yes, it's so smart. We love that. Last, we have a book that is actually non-fiction, and it is Embroidered Wildflowers by Kazuko Aoki, and it is a book. What's so funny? Tell the audience what is funny.
Embroidered Wildflowers. You can just look up a YouTube video. It's not that serious.
But it is like better to read it because it doesn't hurt your eyes, and also you get to have a pretty book.
No,
Okay.
but it's easier to see something visual, like you know.
Yeah,
what
it's
you're
visual.
doing.
It has pictures.
That does not work.
Yes, it works. I like this. Okay, I like tutorial books, so I'm recommending a tutorial book for embroidering wildflowers. And you can go onto a field and embroider wildflowers and feel
I do not
your
recommend it.
cottagecore dreams. Okay,
I
you can
recommend
fulfill your
looking up how
cottagecore
to
dreams.
embroider wildflowers, and millions of videos will pop up. So
No,
much easier.
no.
And
Live
free,
out your
and
cottagecore
free.
dreams.
And
Okay.
free. It is free.
It is
YouTube
time
free.
to pretend that you are a
Embroidered
March sister.
Wildflowers is not
No.
free.
Yes, you have to pretend that you are a March sister. That's what life is for. Goodbye.
Yeah, exactly why you should learn how to embroider instead of reading it.
No, you can learn through reading.
Now we have coquette with pearl necklaces, pink blush, tinted lip oil, love letters, Mary Jane shoes with frilly socks, Her Ribbons, Heart Shaped Everything, and Lana Del Rey's Honeymoon album. Number 1. Violet Bent About Wires Over the Grass is the debut book by American singer-songwriter Lana Del Rey, the Coquette Queen, obviously. A poetry collection featuring over 30 original poems and photography, including 13 longer poems and several short pieces. The collection is the Rey's first published book. Number 2. The Little Book of Audrey Hepburn. Filled with stunning photographs, this fascinating tribute illustrates and illuminates Hepburn's life, from her early years as an ingenue to her status as an international icon of elegance. It reveals how her unique beauty made her a dream subject for designers and photographers alike.
I really like this one. I read it, and it has some like really rare photographs of her actually, and it like details her relationships with like different designers. For example, Paco Rabanne and Givenchy, which is like her main designer. And it has like a bunch of like obscure photos. So if you are like an Audrey Hepburn fan like me and you want obscure content, then buy the book. I promise it's so worth it.
Number 3. Emma by Jane Austen. It is a novel that centers on Emma Woodhouse, a precocious young woman whose misplaced confidence in her matchmaking abilities occasions several romantic misadventures. As you can see, we really like this book because we have recommended it in other episodes. Number 4. The Virgin Suicides. It is a fictional story set in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, during the 1970s, which centers on the lives of 5 twin sisters, the Lisbon Girls. The novel is written in first-person plural from the perspective of an anonymous group of teenage boys who struggle to find an explanation for the Lisbon's death.
Lastly, the Pink Pilates Princess for self-love. Pilates in Lululemon sets, green smoothies, clean makeup, glossier, green tea, book beauty secrets, and manifestation. Atomic Habits is a book that helps you to eliminate those bad habits and helps you to have a better and healthier life. Everything I Know About Love narrates the love story of the main character from her teenage life till her 30s. It's a thrilling and funny story that you will absolutely love. The life-changing magic of tightening up is not just a book about cleaning, simplifying, and organizing. It's also about all the decisions you make and how they affect your life. Conversation on Love is a non-fictional book written by Natasha Loom, in which she narrates her talks with love experts and their experiences in love. She narrates it asking herself, how do we find love and how do we sustain it?
We hope you enjoyed today's podcast. All books will be listed in the description in order of mention. I'm going to try to read some of the Light Academia books next time I wear my beige sweater or my pink coat.
That sounds great. I'm definitely reading some of the cottagecore ones when I get a chance to sit in the grass at the sea.
I would love to read all the Dark Academia books for a rainy day, sitting outside with a cup of tea in my hands and a cold oil.
And with that, we are wrapping up this episode. Thank you for listening and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, 1 mile in fog patches and showers are